is a great time to kick back and maybe dive into a new book. And if you're looking to do that, maybe bring one to the beach, a Syracuse author has a couple of titles to suggest.
Yes, her name is Jo McNally, and she writes romance novels, and she joins us this morning from her home in North Syracuse. Good morning, Jo.
Good morning, everyone.
Thanks so much for joining us. This is your first time on the show, and you're an award-winning author. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Brewerton. I'm a native Syracusan, and then we were in North Carolina for a few years and missed Syracuse and came back. It's interesting. I know this week you've been talking about Girl Scouts a lot. It was actually at a Girl Scout meeting that I realized that if I didn't start writing romance pretty soon, I was never going to do it, and got my start with that.
Well, and so now you've got quite a few books under your belt, Jo. Tell us a little bit about, you know, this place you like to refer to as Rendezvous Falls.
Rendezvous Falls is a fictional town, but it is in a real place. It's in the Finger Lakes, an area that I love, surrounded by wineries. If you wanted to find it on a map, it's probably right around where Penn Yan is. It's about halfway down Seneca Lake, in my mind, of course, and on the pages.
That sounds like my perfect spot. Describe a little bit more about your writing style.
I write contemporary romance, and I try to write as realistically as possible. I have probably dialogue and character building are my two strengths. And in my romances, of course, a romance always has a happy ending, but they have to go through some things to get to that point. And I try to show that love can conquer all. It doesn't solve everything. Sometimes you still need outside help, but love can conquer all, and the right people are brought together in the end.
You know, you mentioned a little earlier when we were chatting with you how the Girl Scouts maybe was a gateway for you. Somebody had said something and you thought, well, if I don't start writing now, I never will. So how does this unfold for you as a writer? You know, how do you start on one of these books and get to the final draft, if you will?
Sweat and tears. It really is. Once I decided to start, I'd always wanted to be a writer. And then once I started writing, of course, the biggest thing is to read in whatever genre you want to go after. Yeah, I was a romance fan, so of course I wanted to write romance. But whatever genre you are interested in writing, you should really read a wide variety of books in that genre so you know what the voices are, what the readers expect. And then I really just dove in and let my imagination go wild.
Where do you get your ideas? Like, for the last book that you wrote, think of where you were and what just kind of was that moment, that spark moment.
Well, this book was kind of special because it has an Irish hero, takes place in an Irish pub. It's in the Finger Lakes, of course. There's actually a scene in the book that takes place at Kitty Hoynes in Syracuse, too. And I would say that might have been the inspiration for this book, is visiting Kitty Hoynes as often as we have. But my husband is Boston Irish. He has Irish family that we visited many times. So this was a book I wanted to write. Really, I wanted an Irish hero, so that's how it came together.
You know, you talk a lot about, you know, a place in the Finger Lakes that you love, and we just talked about Kitty Hoynes. How much of your writing, you know, do you hearken to real life moments or, you know, places that you frequent?
Well, my husband definitely looked at me over the top of this book as he read it, because there's a few quotes in there that are directly from him. Some of his jokes that he tells, and he just kind of looked at me like, seriously? But yeah, it's, you know, they have T-shirts that say, you know, I'm a writer, anything you say may be used in a book. So it really is true. You're just always watching and observing. It's an area that I love, and I want to be true to it. So I do a lot of research. I've read a lot about winemaking because I had a book set on a winery. You do put a lot of background into it, but then it really does help if it's an area you love, because I think people can feel that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, we just want to thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a new book out, but are you writing right now as we speak? Are you writing something?
Oh, goodness, always.
Always. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Barefoot on a Starlit Night is this will be my 10th book with Harlequin. So that'll be my That's my milestone. But the 11th book comes out right after that in September. I've got another book in February. So it's once you start writing to contracts, it becomes a job, and you just keep kind of moving along.
Fantastic. Well, we just want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing these great stories. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I really enjoy it. Stay cool, everybody.
You too. And listen, if you'd like to find Jo's books, you can purchase them at Barnes & Noble or wherever books are sold. You can also learn more about her books and her as well at JoMcNallyRomance.com.